What about safe spaces? Just gonna.
Well, for me personally, like I haven't been playing for a long time, but when I came in, I had like the biggest French accent, and I was a girl, and I was playing alone. It was really hard for me to get like to have people were not nice to me at all when I was playing alone. So it was rough for me to come back every night and like push through. But once I got like a support system, like friends, like girls to play with, it was better. But before that, it was hard for me to stay. I almost left like after like a year because like every night, like you know, like because my French accent, I was a girl, like it was really hard. And then now it's better, but I feel like for other players that like just start up, like it's not fun, you know. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's one issue that I see a lot still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I kind of like a similar story to Julie here. Like when I first started playing Counter-Strike with my little laptop, I got told to go back to the kitchen, make me a sandwich on an ESC match.
Every
I don't know how
day.
I managed it with my laptop, but it did happen. But I think, yeah, just because we haven't been playing in the scene, or like even just like as casual gamers, we haven't been playing long. We kind of just like got brought up in this community where it was just like,
I've never
so
yeah.
against women. Like, well, not to say so against women, but like, keyboard warriors are just like being misogynistic towards like us, and I don't like. At the time, I didn't know why. Like, why is this such an issue?
Yeah, I've never
Like,
saw
I'm
that
a girl,
before.
I like to game. So what? Why does there have to be like a huge gap between like male gamers and female gamers? Like, I can be as good as you can be. Like, I can guarantee you now I'm in a place where I'm probably better than all the male that have like been toxic to me. Um, and
Hell yeah.
yeah.
And I'm going to ask the question to follow up on that from one of the attendee. Someone asked, taking that into account, what you just said, what would be your advice for girls coming up in the scene with respect to playing on a mixed team or an all-women team? The pros and the cons of each path. And I want to start right away and saying one of the pros is that if you play with women, your gender is never questioned, and there's never any talk about the fact that you're women. If you suck, it's not because you're a woman, it's because you suck. There's no other factor in play. And for me, that was a big part of why I enjoyed playing with women. It was about, you didn't do your homework last night. It was not about, oh well, it's okay, you're a woman, what other what other pros and cons do you guys think of playing on a mixed or a women's team at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could take this away. I've done like one mixed team when I was before I actually started any female teams, actually. I do think there's pros and cons to both sides. I think you stated a clear pro. I think a sense of community is definitely helpful, especially to like, for example, Bouchard, who said like it was really hard for you to get into the scene. It can really like encourage you to keep going, like when you have people who got your back. When you just feel like you're alone in a space, I'm sure that's not fun for anyone. Like that feeling is probably not helpful in continuing your pursuit of, your passion or whatever. I do think there's some pros to playing on a mixed team. I know there's not a lot of female teams right now, so it's probably tough for like, it takes like a leader to like band women together, and there might not be enough leaders in the female scene right now to do that. Like some people have to like step up and make teams. For example, like Dignitas, like Karma never had an org for a long time, but it took people banding together, and then eventually it became Dignitas. And same with United, became CLG, right? So it took like leaders to band together and like stick through times where there was no real support and fight for that support and fight for that space. So I think that's, I guess, one thing to touch on. And then my point is because there's not a lot of female teams and opportunities right now, I think if like women want to like better their skill quickly, if they want to like join like I guess the point I'm trying to make is there is a lot of men, so there's a lot of skilled men. So if you join a mix with a lot of skilled players, you'll increase your skill quicker, which is my point. there's pros and cons to playing in both, obviously. I think that, for example, if you joined like CLG or Dig, you would have a lot of structure. You would be learning a lot of things that I don't even think mixed teams actually do. Like I think the way, for example, if I were to compare like my practice structure right now to maybe other teams, I think that, you know, we have goals every day. We have a structure to actually improve ourselves. We have sports psychologists we're working with. Like, we're lucky to have that. But I think like our system is encouraging us for growth in a lot of areas that maybe a mixed team wouldn't have. They don't have that type of resource. They might not even know that's like a useful skill to have or a useful thing to implement into their team. So I guess that's like one thing to touch on. Like, I know Dig has like structure as well. So some mixed teams, like, they just kind of pug it out, and some you might be lucky to have like some structure. But yeah, I think there's definitely pros and cons to both. Yeah, I hope I made my point.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
very
no.
clear.
I was going to add on a bit, and I think
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at with Steph in terms of safe spaces, is that, you know, for the last 20 years, there's been many attempts at kind of women-only safe spaces, and yeah, I'm personally not a fan of those, in that, like, we need men to be our allies too. Like, you know, it's not just all about women. If, you know, to solve inclusivity issues, you don't segregate us from men, essentially. And that's great having, you know, women's teams, women's tournaments. I'm a big supporter of them, but it's very important that men are our allies too. One of my favorite things we did recently at Dignitas is we did a wingman tournament, which is 2v2, and we paired our women's and our men's players together. So Emily and Forrest are playing together. Forrest is one of the best player to ever have played Counter-Strike. And
I agree. He's my favorite player of all time.
Of all the wonderful things Emily has done, like, unfortunately maybe, is, you know, she got some of the most respect by just playing with Forrest, and all of Forrest's tens of thousands of fans seeing Emily play and like saying, wait a minute, she's actually legit. And Forrest vouching for her too, you know. It helps. Like, there's nothing wrong with having your male friend like vouching for you in game. And I know there's obviously a horrible stigma about like being a white knight, or I guess they call it a simp now. I don't know. Simp.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, we need men to be our allies too, I think.
I
Be
couldn't
like a
agree
normal
more.
human, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it's,
so,
you don't have to be a simp to be just a normal person
yeah,
on the internet.
exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a good point.
I also believe that, to what you said to Summer, I don't know why I called you Summer. I saw Summer in chat, and I was, to what you said, Heather. I think that it's also important to have a white male talk to white males. It's like sometimes a white woman or an Asian woman, or, you know, talking to a white male, you know, as much as this is a sensitive topic, the message doesn't always connect, because people don't relate. They can't relate, and they don't listen. So I think that if we can send that message in multiple ways, we can be the most effective.